And when you say Sudanese, these are the Nubians.
Yeah, Kushites.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, let me explain how we know the Kushites were there, because this blows people's minds. I hope you're sitting down, because I'm about to drop some heavy science.
Good. I love that.
Okay. The legendary Ivan van Sertima made the point that there was a medieval book by a scholar called Florian de Acampo. And in this medieval book, it talked about how Pharaoh Taharqa of Kush conquered Spain. Right? Now, that's what Professor Van Sertima found.
That's the first time I'm hearing of that one. I mean, that's a heavy right there.
Yeah.
Taharqa. No, that's 25th dynasty Egypt.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And he had and he was Kushite.
That's right. That's right.
And he drove out the Assyrians from Egypt.
Or attempted to.
Okay, didn't complete the drive down. But yeah. Okay. Wow.
Okay, now what Professor Van Sertima found, he hadn't found the book Florian de Acampo. What he found was a reference to the book. And he put that content in his book, Golden Age of the Moor. So in the introduction written by him, he has this information. Okay, that's where the evidence was at. Now, what happened is I found a way that I could search for a reprint of that book, Florian de Acampo. The book is called Chronica General. And I was able to find the PDF where somebody reprinted it and turned it into actually typed text. And I found out that the information about Taharqa conquering Spain is the subject of chapter 13 of this book. And one of my colleagues, his wife is a Spanish medieval expert. And between them, they translated the chapter and sent the chapter to me. And it's a very detailed account. And it's definitely Taharqa, because the account says, and his enemy was Sennacherib. You all know Sennacherib, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It talks about him being from the land of the Ethiopians and ruler of Egypt. So we can work it out, from the land of Kush and ruler of Kemet. Him battling Sennacherib, that's in there. And Florian de Acampo, the Spanish medieval chronicler, is putting together what he knows from a Spanish perspective of how Pharaoh Taharqa of Kush used to rule his country. And so Taharqa is one of the great rulers of African history that nobody bigs him up enough. Because people should be getting Florian de Acampo. I shouldn't be the only person with an English language translation of chapter 13 of that book. Now, here's the point. If Taharqa had conquered Spain, he would have to have seized control of Carthage. Yeah? And so that would explain why not only are there Egyptian amulets in the country, Sudanese amulets. So you know the deity Khnum is specifically Sudanese. It's not an Egyptian deity.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's not Egyptian, it's Sudanese.
But, well, he's a creator deity. He creates mankind, you know, like the potter on the wheel, and blows the breath of God into the human being. So that's original, meaning that's the creation of mankind.
Yeah. But what happened is,
goes back to Nubia, not primarily to Kemet.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So we know that Khnum is considered more Nubian because there's a story that the late Egyptians tell about Pharaoh Zoser and Pharaoh Zoser having to consult the Nubian priests of Khnum. There was a famine or something, and it specifically says this. So, yeah, so if you've seen Khnum in Carthage,
Because again, that's like news to me because Zoser is the beginning of the nation state of Kemet, supposedly.
yeah,
And
and also
you're
the first
telling
one
me
to build
that
pyramids.
he's consulting the Nubians
Yeah,
about whatever.
yeah, it was something to do with the famine. It was something to do with the famine.
Well,
Um,
again, that's evidence that the civilization came down the Nile and
it
not
did.
came from somewhere else, uh, whatever. What's the name of the place that they always talk about?
Oh, Sumer.
Yes, from Sumer or some other place, Atlantis or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, so basically, that's how why we know that there was a Sudanese presence, not just an Egyptian one.
Mm.
Now, obviously, the Sudanese and Egyptian civilization is almost the same. They shared the same rulers, they worshiped the same deities, and so on. But I'm just shouting out the Sudanese because they don't get shouted out enough. And as I said, I believe that Pharaoh Taharqa should go down in history as one of the greatest Africans ever.
Well, I think one of the big things that I like about him, or as far as we know about him, whether
Yeah,
you call it Taharqa or whatever it's called, was when he invaded Kemet, so to speak, to drive out the Assyrians. He reestablished the Egyptian religion, if you will, and that was the basis of the Shabaka stone, which
hmm,
tells you so much about Egyptian religion, because what was on the Shabaka stone was actually a replication of original information going way back to the founding of Kemet itself. Though the Shabaka stone has been used as some kind of millstone and parts of it have been eroded, but he
yeah,
reestablished the religion, which was of extreme importance.
you're right. Let me read to you a bit of the translation, and it says, chapter 13, of the havoc that an Egyptian king called Taharqa, a native of the Ethiopian lands, wrought on the Spanish navies after this, and how those from Cadiz sent their messengers to him, which was a great cause for Taharqa from the Straits of Gibraltar not to pass further. Go ahead and go to other provinces in Spain, causing great destruction. That's how Florian de Ocampo begins his chapter 13, and it makes it quite clear that this Taharqa is mentioned in the sacred scriptures. So it's the same Tiharka in the Bible. They make that quite clear. And they make it quite clear that they brought their great armies of valiant and warlike black men, and he himself naturally was black, born in the land called Ethiopia, which has always been a very great region surrounded by the African provinces. And so by Ethiopia, we can infer he means Kush. And then goes on to describe it in the greatest of detail. And so what that means then is we have evidence in a medieval source talking about the conquest of Spain. And if you're going to conquer Spain, you're going to have to move through Carthage.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. And you're going to have to tie that up now with Hannibal and his elephants going
Oh,
over it.
that's later. We coming to that. We
I
come.
know,